Hi guys, my name is Sarah Margaret and today we're going to be talking about how to write an effective scientific lab report. So the purpose of a lab report depends on the context and who the audience is. Two examples of types of audiences may be the class to demonstrate your understanding, or the industry where you may have to provide information to your boss. So the parts to include in a lab report is the title page, the introduction, the background, the hypothesis, the materials and methods, the results, the discussion, and the conclusions. On the title page, you should have the precise name of the lab and the experiment. You should also have when the lab was completed and who participated in the lab. Next, in the introduction, you should tell the reader what you are trying to measure or explore. It can also explain why we'd want to perform this lab or exercise. And remember, this is not in first person. Next is the background, and in here you should include what you already know and what you're trying to test. This should include what information would be helpful for the reader to know before they begin to read the lab report and what they need to know before looking at the data. Next is the hypothesis, and this should be carried out before the lab experiment is performed. It should be based on what we know, what do we predict to occur, and what we expect the data to look like. And also why we think that. It should not just be a guess. Next is the materials and methods. Here you need to say what materials were needed and how the experiment was performed. This should be detailed enough so someone who did not do the lab could reproduce the same experiment. Next is the results, and you should be sure to label all of your results. You should use the appropriate data format, and you can combine this section with discussion. You should not include a graph or image you don't plan to discuss. Next is the discussion. You should explain the results here and be sure to discuss all of them. You should reference the table and figure and make sure you do this correctly. You should also talk about the errors that occurred when testing. Are these the results you expected to see? If not, why? Lastly is the conclusion. Here, you should talk about the hypothesis and whether it was proven or disproven. You should also discuss if there are additional things that could be collected after the results. So now we're just going to discuss a few quick tips before finishing your lab report. You should be very concise but clear on what you are trying to explain throughout the lab report. Make sure to not include the wrong or incorrect information. Make sure to use references but cite them properly, often in MLA format. So I'm Sarah Margaret, and I hope that you guys were able to learn a little bit more about how to write an effective lab report. Thanks for watching. Bye.